My day was pure berry till I went out for the messages. I dropped my piece, scared the coo, and some rocket who was pure steamin' telt me off. I didn't ken what was going on, and now I'm pure greetin'. I could go for a wee swally right now. Are you super confused right now even though you're a native English speaker? Keep watching, and by the end of this video, you will fully understand exactly what I just said. Hiya, I'm Peter, and in 2020, I moved from the United States to the west coast of Scotland. If you're moving here, you will quickly find out that you don't speak English, you speak American. And the locals also typically don't speak English, they speak Scots. Today, I'm going to do you a favor and talk about a few words that both American and Scottish people use, but with vastly different meanings. Let's get started. If you're an American talking about messages, you're probably talking about leaving a voicemail if someone dares to call your phone. Although in reality nowadays you will probably use much more specific words and say things like text, email, or sliding into her DMs. But regardless of whether you say the word messages often or not, that word really only has one meaning, and that is verbal, written, or recorded communication. In Scotland, the word messages referred to the errands that messengers would perform, including delivering shopping lists and the resulting groceries back in the day. Over time, the term ended up being more narrowly associated with the task of grocery shopping. So if you hear someone say that I'm away for the messages, make sure to ask them to grab you some snacks because they are not going to check their voicemail, they are going grocery shopping. One thing I find a little funny is that the way they say greetin' in Scotland is slightly similar to how a redneck would say it if he was greeting someone. But of course over here it takes on a completely different meaning. If you're American, the word greet also only really means one thing, and that is to be welcomed or acknowledged. But in Scotland, if someone's greeting, it's not a warm welcome. It's an emotional breakdown. Don't expect a handshake, and bring tissues because there will probably be tears. To be fair, the word peace also has two vastly different meanings in the States, and I think the alternate meanings show how distinctly unalike the culture is between the US and Scotland. Sure, a piece is going to be a part of something, or maybe a musical or artistic creation, but if you're from the States, it can also mean a gun. Here in Scotland, we don't do guns, and we would rather have snacks, which is why over here, a piece is a sandwich. Nothing threatening about it, unless you're allergic to gluten. If something is steaming, it's literally just something that's giving off steam, like a fresh rotisserie chicken from Costco or the mug of water that you just microwave to make some tea. Not here in Scotland though. Here, if you're steaming, you probably can't even remember where you left your shoes, and it's one of the many slang words that we use for being drunk. I actually could probably do an entire video just talking about all the different ways to say that you're drunk in Scotland. Evidently, the term steaming originated back in the day from Doon the Water excursions, which were day trips to coastal towns on steamships and involved, of course, heavy drinking. Clearly, Scotland needed more words to communicate that someone is drunk. Although while the last word steamin' seems to have originated in Glasgow, the term reeking seems to be from Edinburgh. If you're from the States and most other places, you would probably use the word reek or reeking to describe what happens when you let your cat's litter box go for too long between cleaning it out, or maybe to talk about a Donald Trump or Elon Musk speech. But if you use that word here in Scotland, you might instead be talking about what you want to do after watching said speeches, which is get incredibly drunk. If you have a few too many for the pregame before you even go to the pub, they might say that you came in reeking, and it just means that you're sloshed, not smelly. Although, to be fair, sometimes it's both. The word berry is nothing more than a name, the word your toddlers would use when they can't pronounce very, or maybe a city in Canada. In Scotland, the word berry is pure positivity, and it's kind of like Scotland's shorter, cooler version of the word brilliance. So if someone says that anything about you is berry, take it as a compliment. You're doing all right. When you think of Ken, you might think Barbie, or if you're in the Midwest, you'll have some nostalgic, sentimental thoughts about pizza. This next one is also nothing more than a name if you're an American, but if you're Scottish, it can be a verb, adjective, noun, statement, or a question. It basically means to know or understand. So for example, instead of saying, yes, I know him, you might say, I ken him. But this word is much more versatile than that. You can use it in the past tense by saying kent, as a question by saying you ken, and as a noun by saying beyond my ken, or even just to communicate that you don't know something by saying dinna ken. When you think about it, the word pure does kind of mean the same thing in the US compared to Scotland, but the way that people use it is completely different. In the States, you would only really use the word pure to describe something that is uncontaminated, not mixed, 100% refined, or maybe something that's just extremely wholesome, like pure gold or Bob Ross. In Scotland, the word pure is an intensifier and means completely. So instead of saying that you're really cold, you would just say that it's pure Baltic. I really like this adverb because you can basically add it in front of anything for emphasis. Like most Scottish words, this one is pure dead brilliant. If you're visiting Scotland and drive on the right-hand lane when you're not actively overtaking someone, they will probably call you a rocket, and they aren't talking about the speed you're going. For an American, a rocket is just a literal rocket. Or you might say that prices are skyrocketing because they're increasing rapidly. But rocket in Scotland, particularly Glasgow, is another word for idiot. So whether someone calls you an Egypt, Dafty, or rocket, it doesn't really matter because you're probably acting like a fool. What do babies, pigeons, and burgers have in common? They all have the word coo associated with them. For an American, if you say coo, you are probably referencing that sound that pigeons make, or possibly referring to that early communication stage for babies. As an American, you'd never think of cows as coos, but here in Scotland, it's really the opposite. Whether it's a Highland coo or just a regular coo, I don't think I've ever heard a local refer to it as a cow. Now that I'm at the end of this video, are you able to translate the sentence I said at the beginning? There's one last Scottish phrase from that sentence that I haven't covered yet, which is one of the many pieces of Scottish slang that I love, and that is a wee swally. A wee swally always involves an alcoholic drink or 10. And while it might sound super weird saying it in your American accent, you really can't consider yourself to be acclimating until you've used this phrase at least one time. My day was pure berry till I went out for the messages. I dropped my piece, scared the coo, and some rocket who was pure steamin' tilt me off. I didn't ken what was going on, and now I'm pure greetin'. I could go for a wee swally right about now. If you're an American thinking about moving to Scotland, consider this your starter pack for learning the language. If you're Scottish and laughing at me right now, fair play, I probably deserve it. Thank you so much for watching, and until my next video, day the decent thing. Subscribe, you rocket.